It's been 15 years since John Butler released Zebra, his debut record. I still remember hearing it at the first concert I ever went to. Since then, he's released 7 studio albums, 4 of which have gone #1 in Australia. Throughout his career, he's always used his platform to speak out about a whole different range of issues. But I'm interested to find out whether during that time, he thinks the people with the power have actually listened.
When you hear people make promises and they're false or they're hollow, yeah, that's heartbreaking. And I think, we elect our leaders to represent our morals and our ethics and our values. And when they say one thing and do the other, yeah, I think it erodes our appreciation and our belief in democracy. And that's a sad indictment, because it's one of the best working kind of systems on the planet as far as making sure that the majority, are represented.
Over 20 years of maybe since writing some of your first songs that could be classified as protest songs, have you been ever disheartened by the fact that some of those campaigns haven't succeeded?
I've been actually very heartened by the fact that a lot of them have succeeded. Whether it's the Styx Valley or the Weld Valley or the Southwest campaigns or the Kimberley campaigns, there's been a lot that has. And I've been extremely inspired by what happens when a community bands together. It brings the best out of the community. I was born in LA in 1975, and I moved to Pinjarra in 1986 on the Murray River, the Western Australian Murray River. And yeah, it was a beautiful part of the world to kind of grow up in. Strangely enough, 20, 30 years later, after moving there, I did this program called Who Do You Think You Are? And I found out that my great-great-grandfather was buried in an unmarked grave in Pinjarra. And strangely, we didn't move to Pinjarra for any other reason that it was cheap. It was just a random thing that we moved to Pinjarra, and then we find out 20, 30 years later that my great-great-grandfather's buried there. So it's like salmon swimming back upstream.
You're coming up to the 15th anniversary of Zebra being released.
Yep.
Can you reflect on that time when your first single came out and the reaction it had, and really where everything's gone since then?
Zebra was the song that wasn't going to be on the album. It was the last song that I brought to the band. I didn't have lyrics, I just had the whole musical idea. And I remember my daughter being born around that time, and I wrote the lyrics as I was trying to put her to sleep every night. It was nothing about banjo, but it was this idea that I'm duality incarnate. Yeah, I could be nice, but I can be a jerk. I can be generous, I can be greedy. And I think we're all that way. And so yeah, it was a spin out. And then I thought, oh, just put it on the album. And then my manager was like, that should be the single. I'm like, whatever, I don't know. I wasn't even gonna put it on the album. And it happened to be the song, which is so funny.
I've heard that you're not writing protest songs at the moment, you're writing love songs.
Really?
Is that true?
I write more love songs, or I write more songs about people.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
It's a lot more interesting. I mean,
it's 20 years of
how many songs can you write about, a dodgy crew coming into good communities and taking over places?
And history keeps repeating itself?
It does keep repeating itself, and I guess I find that these political issues, the war without, it actually reflects the war within. And people only do bad things to other people because they're feeling bad about themselves. And so I kind of find that the interesting story. Yeah, you can talk. I can write another song about, egotistical, misogynistic, leader of the world. Sure, but I'd rather talk about how a young boy wasn't told he was loved by his father and how he became a tyrant. That sounds more of an interesting story, and more of a story that is more relatable.
When I've seen you perform on stage, sometimes I'm always kind of drawn to your nails.
What nails?
They're so, I don't know if I've seen it on other performers. Do other guitarists have these longer
talon
nails?
Vampiric.
Is it purely because you lay it down sometimes and play on
No, it's because I fingerpick.
Okay.
It's because I fingerpick.
And they're your own nails?
Okay, no, they're fake nails.
They're fake nails?
So when I was busking 20 years ago on the streets of Fremantle, I still fingerpick on the 12-string guitar, and But back then I was too, but it just would kill my nails to the point where I was just kind of bleeding. And then I saw this busker one day, and he had these great nails, really thick. And I remember saying, what do you do? Are you taking some kind of supplements? It's another fake. You go down to Shea New Beauty Clinic, they'll whack them on for you. And I was like, that's brilliant. I went down to Shea New Beauty Clinic and I put on these big old ugly nails.
Do you still visit beauty
No,
clinics?
no, I do not. I've been doing my nails for the last 15 years. Left-handed, folks, left-handed. And they've been like amazing tools. They scare people and children.
Yeah.
But
And what about your own children?
well, they've grown up with it.
John, thank you so much for joining me out here in the bush. Looking forward to hearing you play.
Thanks for having us, Marty. I appreciate it.
Cheers.